Good evening. Welcome to the City of Sugarland City Council meeting for Tuesday, May the 3rd. A little bit about our agenda tonight. In a minute, Carol McCutcheon is going to lead us in the prayer and the pledge. Following that, we're going to have three special recognitions. We'll start off with the MIAC Mayor's Youth Advisory Council graduates of 2022. That'll be followed by a special recognition for Dave Rosenthal, who's on the Fort Bend ISD Board of Trustees and actually is the president this year. And that'll be followed by Public Service Recognition Week. If you all would rise with me now for the invocation. Carol.
I invite you to join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we pause at this time to give thanks for the men and women who lead our nation, state, and city. Thank you for their dedication and commitment. Thank you for our brave soldiers who protect our national interest around the world. Father, we also thank you for our first responders who faithfully watch over and protect our families and homes. Thank you for our entire city staff as they work on behalf of our citizens. With Mother's Day approaching, we are so grateful for all the mothers. As we meet now, please guide our thoughts and our words. Give us wisdom, discernment, courage, and compassion. Help us lead in a way that glorifies you and honors our citizens. It is with humility and gratitude that we make these requests. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening again. Our first recognition is the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, graduating class from 2022. They've already heard this, but I'll go ahead and say it to everybody in the audience. We had a phenomenal class this year. They were very excited. They gave a great presentation the other night on helping Sugarland get a little bit greener. We're going to take those recommendations and we're going to see if we can implement some of them, Mike. That's all going to be coming to you. Paulina, why don't you come down here and join me, please? Class this year is the 17th year of our program. It was made up of 35 different high schools. No, 35 Sugarland high schools, students from 11 different high schools. They completed exercises with the fire chief, open forums with the city manager, Mike Goodrum, and myself, met one-on-one with district council members, and participated in a brainstorming session with the Innovation Department for the development of their class project. Just yesterday, they presented their student vision project on the importance of developing eco-friendly systems, infrastructure, and ideas. Their creativity and commitment for a greener, more sustainable Sugarland is pretty extraordinary. Thank you to our city staff who met with them. Thanks to them for their participation and for volunteering. And my class, I'm going to ask you to stand as a group and be recognized, please. And they've each received their certificates. So at this time, I'm going to ask MIAC Chair Anjali Sivasalthi, Vice Chair Narsi Chokshi, and they're going to speak on behalf of the class. If the two of you would come down, please. Anjali.
Can you guys hear me? Hi, everyone. My name is Anjali Sivasalthi, and I was honored to have the position of chairwoman over the bright and talented students standing in front of me today. Working with each of you has been really exciting, and seeing all of your perspectives and ideas and different work ethics has been a truly special experience. As a member of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, I feel like I've walked away with a different definition of government than I had walking into this program. The individuals in Sugarland's government aren't just these random figureheads that simply stand in a position and do nothing more. They're not these people that flippantly pass laws and sign whatever they think agrees with their beliefs. They carefully consider each person, each group, each people's wants while taking that into consideration with the current economy and everything else. They're hardworking, discerning leaders who've been placed with the responsibility of weighing the wants of the people, the needs of the economy, and the boundaries of the law. Understanding this responsibility has allowed all of us to view the government in a different vision, and we're grateful that this program has given us the lens to do so. Thank you to all of the city servants and staff and elected officials who've helped shape our ideas of what the leaders in our government really do. Thank you to Mayor Zimmerman for creating an environment where the youth can feel heard and considered. Thank you to Ms. Valero for holding our hand as we walk through this process together. Thank you to all of the members of MIAC for dealing with my countless emails and all of the hard work that you've put in. To my fellow members, I'm really proud of you, and I'm excited to see what you do with the knowledge you've gained from this program. Thank you.
Anjali, that was amazing. I'm just going to keep mine super short and sweet. First off, I just want to thank MIAC for giving us this opportunity to learn the inner workings of local government, whether it be learning about how much a fire truck costs, like it's $1 million, or hearing about how the waste department is able to operate during a hurricane. MIAC has provided us with so many opportunities to learn about the aspects that go unnoticed in day-to-day life by giving us a way to understand these minuscule, tiny components of how the government functions. We're able to use this knowledge to cultivate our own beliefs and develop our own ideas, fostering this sense of growth and innovation. I know for my peers and for myself as well, MIAC is a great platform to get your ideas out there and give feedback as a representative of the youth population. I got to meet so many new people and amazing individuals, and I know you guys are going to do some great things. So thank you all.
Well, and to the class, I'd like to challenge you. You've learned a lot. And now as you go forward in your careers, the next step, as seniors and then on to, school or wherever you choose, to use that knowledge, like to get you back, council members, boards, commissions, mayor, state government, federal government. Lord knows we need some help at the federal level. Hopefully you'll engage in all your careers. We wish you all success. To your parents, thank you all for letting us exchange ideas with this incredibly talented group of people. Thank you, and we hope that many of you will encourage them to come back and participate at the local level, boards, commissions, and or local government. So thank you. And now if I could get the class, if you all could come forward, we're going to get a picture. Council, you guys come down. You going to stay up there? Yeah, it's a big class. Really big class.
You want to do a little bit more so that
Yeah, I was just about to do that. I got the tall one in front of me. I'm going to stand on my tippy toes. He's like,
You can't see the camera can't see you, just make sure they can see. Okay, got everyone here? All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2, 3.
wait for your parents.
Speak tall.
You guys don't have to stay if you don't want to. Thank you all. Let's give them a moment as they go out, and then we'll go to our next recognition. Our next recognition is somebody that I don't think needs to be a bit introduced, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's Fort Bend ISD Board of Trustees President Dave Rosenthal. I'm going to ask Dave to come down. I'm going to ask his wife Joan to come down with him. Jim Rice, if you'd come down. Judy Day and Kristen Malone. This is a recognition for Dave's extraordinary service. Dave, I think you've been on the Board of Trustees for, what, 10 years now? 10 years, and I can tell you I've been mayor and on council now for 10 years. That's a long time. So this is a recognition of you and your service, and it's really you and your wife, because she had to loan you to the Fort Bend Board of Trustees, and I know it's not an easy job. I mean, their elected office right now is it's a tough gig no matter how you want to cut it. So we wanted to recognize you for your years of service. This is a proclamation, recognition of service to the community for Dave Rosenthal, Fort Bend ISD Board of Trustees, the president, May 3rd of 2022. Whereas Dave Rosenthal has served in the Fort Bend Independent School Board of Trustees for 10 years in various capacities and currently serves as the board president. And whereas in his time serving on the board, Mr. Rosenthal has served as president, vice president, and secretary. He cites his work on the policy committee amongst his most important accomplishments. One of the most exciting accomplishments during his time on the board was their selection as the 2017 HEB Excellence in Education Board of the Year. He also participated in the superintendent selection process both in 2013 and most recently in 2021 when they selected Dr. Christy Whitbeck. Dave spent nearly 30 years as a geophysicist before earning a Texas teaching certificate and becoming a middle school science teacher. I did not know that. He received a Bachelor's of Science in Geology from the University of Delaware and a Master of Arts in Geological Sciences from the University of Texas. And where Dave and his wife Joan have been Fort Bend residents for nearly 20 years, they have 3 children, all of which attended Fort Bend ISD schools. Dave, Joan, congratulations to you all. And thank you for your years of service. Council, please come down. Judy, Chris, and Jim, we'll get the 2 of you in the middle, and then we can get Jim flying back, and then we'll get council. We'll get a picture of you. We'll get you. You ready to run? William, sir, let's open. You and I come over here.
I'll stay by Judy. All right, everyone looking great. All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you.
Our final recognition for tonight is Public Service Recognition Week. I'm going to ask Ms. Chandra Holmes if she'll come down. Also, Assistant Chief Davis from the Sugarland PD, Captain Laura from Sugarland PD, and Officer Mitchell from Sugarland PD. And I'm going to ask Chandra to introduce us to this.
So basically, Public Service Recognition Week, we celebrate the first full week in May, and it's basically just to kind of educate the public about kind of what we do and how the work that our employees do on a daily basis to keep the city running smoothly and to keep the city safe. And so with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Assistant Chief Davis to kind of give us an example of how our employees excel at what they do.
As we all know, Mayor, Council, March 20th was a horrific night for us. We experienced something we've never experienced before. On that particular night, 2 officers were called to the scene, Officer Barber and Officer Mitchell. Through their actions, they were able to pull an officer out of a car that was badly damaged who was severely injured. They also took turns doing CPR, exhausting CPR. During this time, they're also getting cars crashed all around them. I looked up the definition of a hero tonight. And to put it simply, right here, this is a hero, Officer Mitchell.
For those of you that don't know, we had a drunk driver that ran into a barricade. One of our officers stopped to make sure that he was safe. Later, we had 2 more people, alcohol impaired. All 3 were alcohol impaired, and one of our officers suffered some extraordinary injuries. He's still recovering. I believe it's still at home, but he is out of the hospital. When I saw the car the next morning when I was going into work, quite frankly, I don't know how anybody could have survived that. And it's through the efforts of you and your partner that you were able to get him out, give him CPR, get him on a life flight helicopter, and we got him down. I think the doctor saved him, but they wouldn't have been able to save him had you not gotten him out of that car and given him CPR. So, you know, we're all family here at the city of Sugarland, and we appreciate what you did. That was a personal sacrifice, and it's just one example of what our officers go through every single day to protect us and keep us safe. So again, thank you very much. We've got a proclamation. Let me read that, please. Public Services Recognition Week, May 1st through 7th of 2022. Since 1985, Public Service Recognition Week is celebrated beginning on the first Sunday of May to honor the people who serve our nation as federal, state, county, local, and tribal government employees. And whereas throughout the nation and the world, public servants use this occasion to educate others about the work they do and why they have chosen public service careers, as well as the many ways government services make life better for all of us. Whereas the City of Sugarland employees are on the front lines ensuring our safety and the security of our community and providing important services to our citizens such as traffic management, safe streets and sidewalks, superior quality water, and enforcement of our codes and ordinances that keep our community one of America's best. Our public servants deserve thanks for working diligently on our behalf doing important work that positively affects us each and every day. And whereas public safety employees make up about 1/2 of the city's employee in the fire, EMS, police, and dispatch departments. The other half of our workforce includes employees in departments such as city administration, communications, engineering, planning, public affairs, public works, information technology, finance, human resources, permits and inspections, environmental and neighborhood services, city attorney, city secretary, Department of Innovation, Economic Development, and the Sugarland Regional Airport. And I want to thank you all as officers for your work. I want to thank all of our employees for their dedication, not only to the city of Sugarland, but to the citizens of Sugarland. So thank you very much, officers. Everybody's running. Right there in front of the seal, there you go. That's perfect. Mike, there.
All right, great. Everyone, look right here, please. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you.
And I see that we have a couple scouts in the audience. If we could get you to stand, tell us what troop you're with, your name, what troop you're with, and the badge that you're working on. There we go. We got more than one. Tia, could you give them, Thomas will get the microphone.
Duty to country.
What's your name?
Charlie.
Charlie. Welcome to Sugarland City Council, Charlie.
My name is Matthew.
What badge you working on, Matthew?
Pause in action. My name is Matthew.
And you're working on cause and action?
Yes.
Well, welcome to Sugarland City Council. Thank y'all. Thank you, Thomas. This time we're going to move on to public comment, part 2. Anyone that would want to speak on any of these items, with the exception of a public hearing, is welcome to do so as long as it's an agenda item. We'll limit the conversation to about 3 minutes. Thomas, do we have anybody signed up?
No, sir.
Anyone from the audience? We're going to move on to item number 3, the consent agenda. We're going to take all these as one motion, unless the council member wants to pull an item, at which time we'll have a separate presentation on that one item. Do I have a motion? Got a motion by Jacobson, second by Kermali. Any questions? Vote at this time, please. There we go, and it's a 7-0 vote. Thank you, council members. Item number 4, contracts and agreements. 4A, consideration of an action on authorization of a professional services contract with Martinez Architects LP in the amount of $727,500 for the design of public safety training facility, Phase 2, CIP CMU 2204. We have with us Lane Wolf, our manager of vertical construction. Lane.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Make sure I'm in control. Okay, this project is part of the GeoBond program. So I wanted to give you a quick update. This is part of Proposition B. There's 4 contracts operating underneath Proposition B. We've got CMU 2202, which is public safety and public service buildings rehabilitation. We have construction underway for that project. CMU 2203, fire EMS apparatus replacement. This equipment's under contract. What we're here tonight for is CMU 2204, public safety training facility, phase 2, design contract consideration, and also CMU 2501, emergency operations center, public safety dispatch building. That is scheduled for design in FY23 and construction in FY25. So the purpose on this project, we have 2 main goals: transition the police and fire department from remote training facilities outside the city limits to within the city limits, and providing ongoing training for staff to satisfy training requirements and maintain their certifications. Background on the project includes we purchased in 2016 the Central Unit Prison. 2018, we started the site demolition and asbestos abatement. That was the project I was a project manager on. 2018, we initiated the training facility, phase 1. 2 years, 2018, 2019, we broke up phase 1 into 3 packages, which is phase 1A, 1B, and 1C. So the training facility overall site plan looks like the image that you see there. The bottom left is phase 1A, that is the interim gun range. Up at the top, phase 1C was the fire prop that we developed for the fire department. And what we did was we put the interim gun range according to the master plan in a location that wouldn't interfere with any of the future construction. But the fire prop needed to go in its permanent location. The problem that we had was we did not have access to the back of the site, so we had to put in all the roads to gain access. So that became phase 1B, and as you can see there, those are the current concrete roads that we have out there on site currently. Phase 1A in more detail was the interim gun range. So on this project, I was given the task to put together a package for the police department so that they could upgrade and do their qualifications yearly. We did not go with a design firm on this. Instead, we saved money. I designed the project myself. That image on the left-hand side is a 3D rendering that I created for the gun range. That was the basis of the bid proposal. We can do qualifications up to 25 yards for pistols and rifle up to 50 yards. And then on the right is the image of the ribbon cutting that we had. And this project was put together on budget and on schedule. Phase 1B, access roads. We hired a civil engineering firm for this portion. This was my color-coded map that we used. My primary access was the beige road, the airport road on the right of the image, followed by the orange road. Once I got that into place, I could start work on the fire prop, Connex fire prop, and then the rest of the roads followed from there. Phase 1C, fire prop itself. Again, saving money. I designed this project. The image on the left is the 3D model. The image on the right is the actual Connex fire training prop there. This project was also delivered on budget and within the schedule. We did good on the overall cost for all of phase 1A, 1B, 1C. We had some leftover money. We installed a range master's office, helped them level that project. Patio, covered canopy. We supplied electricity to the gun range. I installed 2 40-foot light poles out there so that they could do nighttime training with high-powered dimmable LED floodlights. And we were also able to put a canopy system over at the fire prop so that they have an area during the summertime to get out of the sun. So this phase 2 project scope. This includes the simunition training building. apparatus building, outdoor classrooms, restrooms, site drainage, water line loop, electricity service, septic system, and driving pad civil design. So on the image there, you can see this is overlaying the original master plan that we've been using as a guideline. The interim gun range is there at the bottom. Clouded up there to the left is the shoot house or simunition training building. To the right, the clouded area there is where the apparatus building will be located. So a little detail on the apparatus building. That's the image pulled from our master planning. It shows 4 bays. We've kind of developed the scope a little bit more, and now we're up to 6 apparatus bays. We're going to utilize this storage of vehicles, miscellaneous equipment storage, and that'll be in the middle. On one side, we will have a 60 by 60 training room. This is going to be a wide open training room so that we can conduct different activities. It'll be a multi-use training room for applications such as instant command simulation training, EMS training, SCBA confidence course, and other activities. On the opposite side of the building, we plan on installing 1 large classroom with a divider wall in there so we can break it up into 2 classrooms. This can be utilized by the police department and the fire department for indoor classroom training. Simunitions building, or the live fire shoot house. What this will help the police department with is close quarters training, non-lethal training, use of simunition, force-on-force drills, short-range environment. It will include restroom facilities, outdoor covered patio, and parking. For those of you that don't know, instead of using actual live fire with real ammunition, simunition is about the closest thing you can get, where you're using an actual handgun, you're using an actual bullet, but you don't have a solid projectile, you're shooting a paint pellet. And that's for safety reasons. We're going with this recommended design program. Design team selection. We utilize a request for qualifications, RFQ. We advertised on December 15th and 22nd. We had 10 qualified firms submitted. Engineering, fire, police reviewed all the RFQs. We shortlisted down to 4 qualified firms. Interviews were conducted, scored. Martinez Architects was selected as the most qualified firm for this project. Quick introduction. We have Mr. Martinez, president of Martinez Architects, here with us tonight.
Welcome.
Proposal, we had a level of effort approach, full design fee at $722,500 plus $5,000 in reimbursables. This covers all the scoping and design process, construction drawings, permitting, contractor bid and selection, and full construction administration services. Project budget, as I mentioned before, this is part of the GO bond, Proposition B. We have an established budget of $10 million on this project. Design contract will be $727,500. There's other project costs I will be managing throughout this process. We will have the overall construction cost, materials testing, building security, IT infrastructure going in, CenterPoint Energy electrical cost, construction contingencies, and various scope alternates that we plan on plugging in. And with that, we have the request for approval. The engineering, fire, and police departments recommend City Council approve a professional services contract with Martinez Architects LP for the design services of the Public Safety Training Facility Phase 2 CIP CMU 2204 in the amount of $727,500. And with that, I'll
Questions?
take
Suzanne?
questions.
I don't really have a question. I just want to say thank you. I've waited for those restrooms out there for a long time, so this is the first step. I have a motion to approve.
Got a motion by Watley. Do I have a second? Got a second by Lane. Question? Go ahead, Carol.
Yes, so about when will the design be finished?
We are targeting the end of this year. We'll be going into the bidding process probably, I'm estimating, in December, end of November, begin middle of December.
Any other council members? Lane, I seem to remember on the bond, the 2019 bond which was when this was passed. And I think there was 27 million for the police and fire training facility. This is only one part of that. Is that correct?
No, sir, the $10 million is for the full budget for the training facility.
Okay. Because that includes, that's all in.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We got a motion, got a second. Any other questions? Vote at this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, council. Thanks, Lane.
Thank you.
Item number 5, public hearings. 5A, public hearing. Receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on the proposed change in the future land use map for Chapter 6 Land Use Plan of the Comprehensive Plan for the map area that includes portions of property known as Tract 2 and for a proposed change in zoning for approximately 220 acres of land within property known as Tract 2 in the MM Battle League. Abstract number 9, located to the northwest of the intersection of US Highway 90 and Easton Avenue. And we have with us Doug Schomburg from our city planner and development. Doug.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This evening, this is another step in the process of Tract 2 development, and we are going to go ahead and take you through that. Make sure we get it going here. There we go. And February 1st of this year, Jim Calloway took you through settlement agreement along with legal for the Tract 2 property, and that set up some specifics for future development. Subsequently, you approved a development agreement on March 1st of this year, and Jim went over that further. Part of the settlement agreement was to conduct city-initiated amendments to both the future land use map as well as the rezoning of 220 acres approximately in the Tract 2 area. And for clarification, Tract 2, northwest intersection of US Highway 90A and Easton Avenue, just north of the railroad there. And again, these are two specifics to that. So there's a map amendment and there's a rezoning in accordance with that settlement agreement. Getting a little further into the rezoning, there's two parts to that. One is for approximately 100 acres to our R1, our standard single-family zoning, and then 120 acres to R1Z zoning, and that combined is the total 220. And the R1Z is our zero lot line, aka patio home style zoning. So there's two parts to that. We're going to take a quick look at the aerial here, just kind of for the record in the audience. Again, 90A here. This is new territory in Telfair. Here's the airport, and then this is the central farm unit owned by the city of Sugarland, and here is the Tract 2 area that goes up to the city limit line on this west side. So the future land use map, very specific to the Tract 2 area only. This is the existing map, and again, this area is shown under the light industrial classification in the future land use map in order for residential development to be able to be in accordance with that settlement agreement. This is proposed to be changed to our suburban neighborhood, which is again highlighted here just in this little bit easier to see area, and there still is light industrial for the remaining part of the tract. Some of that will be drainage, as a matter of fact. So this is the map amendment. And then let's look at the zoning. There's two portions. As we said, there's 100 acres, which is on the northwest corner, and this is for standard single family, our typical minimum 6,600 square foot lots at a minimum. And then immediately to the south of that and to the area that's going to be drainage is R1Z, our standard zero lot line, and that is 5,000 square foot minimum size lots. So again, these combined with the specific meets and bounds were all part of the agreement, laying that out for the area. So we did take this forward to the Planning and Zoning Commission, held a public hearing and consideration action on this at their March 8th meeting. We briefed the commission on the proposed changes and in accordance with the authorized settlement agreement. No members of the public spoke with regard to the map amendment or the rezoning, and they subsequently voted unanimously, recommending approval to the council of both the map amendment and the rezoning. So in moving forward for this evening's hearing, again, all requirements were fulfilled. At this point, we have not received any inquiries for the council public hearing notification. So consideration points, as you are aware, this is in accordance with the agreement that was approved February 1st of this year. It only applies as far as the land use plan, which is chapter 6 of the comprehensive plan, it only applies to the map. So this doesn't change any text in the rest of the plan. It's the map exhibit only. And the change from the M1 to the R1 and R1Z does provide those two separate areas with two different styles of single-family product layouts. One, the zero lot line, and then the other, the standard residential single-family. So any development in those zones will have to comply completely with all of the things that are laid out in the development code under those. And again, this will carry out key expectations under those agreements, and the council has approved the development agreement, like we said, subsequently in March. So that's fully a wrap-up of it. We recommend holding the hearing, following by approval of the ordinance, and that will amend both the map and the rezoning that's taking place. We'll be glad to answer any questions following the hearing.
Thank you, Doug. We'll go ahead and hold questions. We're going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Anyone that would want to speak on this particular item is welcome to come forward, tell us your name and your address, and then you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Anyone? Second call. We're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. First consideration of an action on City of Sugarland ordinance number 2263. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sugarland, Texas, amending Chapter 6 of the Comprehensive Plan of the City of Sugarland by adopting an update to the city's land use plan, Section 5, future land use map, providing for a change of zoning from restricted industrial M1 district to standard single-family residential R1 district for approximately 100 acres of land, a change of zoning from restricted industrial M1 district to zero lot line single-family residential R1Z district for approximately 120 acres of land, all located on the north side of US Highway 90 and west of the intersection with Easton Avenue and within the MM Battle League, Abstract 9, and other matters related thereto. Questions of council members? Nishad.
Doug, thanks for the presentation. Do we have an idea of approximately how many homes this would create in the 100 or 120 acres? Is it 100 for the homes, residential?
It's going to be 220 acres total for the residential, broken up into partly the zero lot line and partly the standard zoning. Okay. They anticipate, there was a concept plan with the agreement, they anticipate several hundred there, plus minus. It's going to need to be gone at further when we go through a general land plan process and get more specific. But it probably around 300 something, I believe, is what the applicant was interested in.
And then will this butt up to Chelsea Harbor, and would there be entrance from Chelsea Harbor into this area as well?
The development is going to abut up along there. The main connectivity is, and covered further in the agreement, is Owens Road extension through that. So that's been a major point of discussion over the years to be able to kind of connect out westward, northwestward, I should say. So yes, a lot of that is covered in the agreement to be able to carry out that, and the applicant is going to, the owner is going to have to participate significantly in the road connection and extension as part of the development.
So just mirror follow-up to that.
Follow-up.
I'm still trying to understand if I'm in Chelsea Harbor, can I come into this neighborhood and then come in onto 90, or are you saying it's too soon for us to really know?
I would have to get into the plan details further. I know the Owens Road will be the primary connector. As whether there will be a local direct connector into Chelsea, I couldn't say off the top of my head.
Can you show me Owens Road? I don't know where it's at. That's why I'm asking.
Sure. We'll go ahead and back up to that.
Owens Road was in the 2019 Fort Bend mobility bonds. And
It's
actually
not.
connects up with 1463 and Highway 90.
So 1464 to Highway 90.
Take a look at
This one here.
Right, that's going to, the idea would be that where Easton comes across, it's going to ultimately, it's not exact, but going to come on through, and then there will be some connectivity bringing
Right
it
there.
from
Right.
this direction.
Okay.
It's kind of just off the map there.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Anyone else?
May I?
Suzanne?
Thank you. So with that in mind, we're not looking to develop this until Owens Road comes through, possibly?
That's going to need to be part of that. Now, as far as some of the timing in that, Jim Calloway is here as well and worked on the negotiations with that. As far as this goes, though, I know we probably need to kind of keep focused on the zoning as far as that goes. But that's all going to have to be adequately accessed in terms of that. And the development agreement gets into some phasing and some things like that, too. So it was definitely carefully considered.
Yeah, I would expect the developer is going to go ahead and move forward. He can advance the money and then he can get reimbursed. Anyone else? A motion? Got a motion by Kermally, second by McCutcheon. Your vote this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you, sir.
Item number B, public hearing. Receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on a request from First Colony Community Services Association to drill a groundwater well to replace the existing well number 580. We have with us tonight Merritt Nolte Roth. Did I get that right, Merritt? Okay. And Brian.
Good evening.
Good evening. And you're going to introduce Merritt because this is the first time she's been with us.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Yes, sir. So I'm very excited this evening to be up here introducing Merritt. She's been with the city for about a year. Merritt has a bachelor's from Baylor in environmental science and a master's in public policy from the LBJ school that will remain unnamed in Austin. But even though she's not
Here,
named,
here. There we go.
She did grow up
Here.
in. She grew up in College Station, so we'll give her that.
She grew up in College Station. Why'd she go to Texas?
You know, we all make mistakes, Mary. Since in her time here with us, she has been instrumental in the what I would consider the typical water resource management role, managing our relationships with BRA, GCWA, the subsidence district. But she's also been very integral in implementing the IWRP. The IWRP had a lot of conservation measures, and that has been on Merritt to implement. So. We're very happy to introduce her and wish her luck with this item tonight.
Thanks, Brian.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Welcome.
I am here to speak on the approval for the First Colony Community Services Association permit to drill a water well. As part of the process to get approval for drilling a water well, you have to open a public hearing, which we will do after this presentation. And this also requires the approval from City Council. And just to go over the agenda very quickly, I'm going to briefly go over the process for approval of a water well. I'm also going to talk about how this particular well fits into our GRP, or groundwater reduction plan. I'm also going to give you an overview of the permit that FCCSA submitted. So the process for well approval, the city ordinance that we have in place does prohibit drilling of water wells. However, there are exceptions to that ordinance. and it can allow for State Council to approve drilling of a water well if other sources of water are not feasible or impractical. So as part of that process, SCCSA also had to submit a permit application to the city. That permit application included several different types of documentation, including their approved permit that they submitted with Fort Bend Subsidence District, which they had to do before they submitted a permit application for the city. It also includes the location, the well size, pump capacity, and intended use, just various information like that. I just want to go over the background for our groundwater reduction plan. It was approved by the City Council in 2008. It is the strategies that we have laid out as a city to meet the Fort Bend Subsidence District groundwater conversion timeline. As part of this GRP, we are the administrator. The city itself is the administrator of the GRP. There are 18 participants, and we have over 70 wells. In total, per year, we, as the GRP, pump 4.7 billion gallons of water. All participants are required to pay into the GRP through pumpage fees that go into the utility fund and help cover the costs associated with the GRP and its upkeep. So First Colony Community Service Association is one of those 18 participants in our GRP. They own 8 wells in total, and those are used for irrigation and amenity lake filling. As you can see on the map, that is where the former well number 580 was located. It provides water to fill the amenity lake that is adjacent to the Crescent Lake subdivision there on the map. And the 5-year production average of this well is 5.4 million gallons per year. And I'd just like to point out that that is a very, very tiny amount compared to the 4.7 billion gallons per year of the aggregate GRP pumpage. The well has failed, and they have requested to replace it. Staff has reviewed and received the request from FCCSA to drill this replacement well. Some key notes about this permit application. This is simply a replacement well. It's the same size as the last well. Other sources of water are not practical for this location in this situation. FCCSA has already submitted and gotten approval from Fort Bend Subsidence District for their permit process. This will not increase the overall water use of this well, and it will also not adversely impact the GRP. With that, staff recommend that the City Council authorize the approval of the water well drilling permit submitted by First Colony Community Services Association.
Thank you, Mary.
And I'll give it over to the mayor for the public hearing.
Okay. This time, let's hold our questions. Let's go ahead and open the public hearing. Ask anybody that wants to speak on this particular item. Approach the podium, name, address, and you have 3 minutes. Anyone? Second call. We're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Any questions, council members? Carol?
Yes, I was wondering, what was the failure mechanism of the well? Did the screen fail, or the formation fail, or was it casing failure?
I'm not sure the answer to that question. We don't really keep track of the overall operations and maintenance of our wells. We just are the administrator of the GRP. Those wells are privately owned by the GRP members, and they oversee the operations and maintenance and anything that goes into that. So.
Okay, I won't get too much in the weeds, but that was just my question. I guess that's more an FCCSA question is, could the well be worked over as opposed to drilling a brand new existing well? And how far away from the current well is the proposed new well?
I'm not sure.
Anyone else? Stuart?
Mayor, I'd like to say that after years of listening to Aggies drone on and on and on here from the podium, it's refreshing to have a Longhorn say something concisely and easily understandable. So thank you.
I'll go ahead and make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve First Colony Community Services Association's well drilling permit application, finding that 1, there exists an urgent need for the drilling of this well. 2, it is impractical to obtain the necessary water from other sources. 3, appropriate safeguards will be in place to prevent injury to the health, safety, and well-being of the city's residents. 4, the proposed well will not violate any subdivision restrictions relating to the land. And number 5, the proposed well will not create a noise or odor hazard to the adjacent property owners. That's the motion on the table.
Second.
Got a second by McCutcheon. Any other questions? If you'll vote at this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Brian. Item number 6, City Council City Manager reports. Jennifer, let's start with you.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of weekends ago, I attended a BAPS Charities Walkathon that started here in Town Square, and had, I would say, the numbers were in thousands of this group. They're an international charities group that came together and had some surprising responses to the situation in Ukraine. So heard a lot of stories about that. Also, I attended the St. Teresa's Bazaar on Sunday. They had a very good turnout. So it seems that that area of Sugarland, people are getting out more. They hadn't had their bazaar in a couple of years. So it seems like people are getting comfortable and getting out and interacting with each other.
Thank you, Jennifer. Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. On one day, since I was here last, I got the pleasure of going to the Sugarland Art Fest, which was held at Smart Financial Center, and it was a huge success. I can't tell you how professionally run it was, and the quality of the vendors was terrific. And then later that day, we had the party right here in Town Square in District 3, the Fun District. And it was just an amazing event. There were people were having such a great time, and I can't tell you what a great face it puts on the city of Sugarland. Thank you.
William.
Mayor, this is my formal request to move from sitting next to Stewart. I never know what he's going to say next. I do want to say one of my, many of you are going to think this is not a fun event, but the New Territory HOA invited the appraisal district to come out and speak to our citizens, and I attended that the other night. And the reason it was so informative is there are so many people in our community right now that are just kind of concerned about the appraisals and everything, and the appraisal district did a fabulous job at producing information and explanations, and it was great, along with the other great events, including the one Stewart explained happened out here. I wasn't quite sure what I was watching because it was so active. It was so amazing. But along with all the hospitality we've received from our citizens over the last several weeks of Ramadan, it's been a really, really fast-paced, exciting time in Sugarland.
Thank you, William. Carol.
Here we go. I taught a class to some scouts on the constitutional rights and obligations in the U.S., and several of us attended a ribbon cutting for the widening of Highway 6. And then I also went to an Eagle Scout ceremony, and one of the Eagle Scouts was Turgai Mbarsi, who was a MIAC graduate from last year, and he told me how much the MIAC program had meant to him, what a positive impact it had had on him. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. LaShawn.
Here this past Sunday, Suzanne, myself, and Carol attended the Art of Wining and Dining here in Sugarland Town Center, put on by our Parks and Recs department, and it was really, really well put together. Lots of wine recently in the things with the Cultural Arts Festival as well, but really well done, and I want to commend staff on putting it together, and lots of good food as well, and a lot of general public out visiting us here at Town Center. And then a lot of city council, we attended the groundbreaking of the expansion of the Miriam Masjid site, which Chris, I want to thank you and your team for working very, very closely with the Miriam Mosque. They mentioned you specifically and your team on how much diligence has gone in over the past 3 years. And then we all had a very nice iftar dinner. as well. And then moving to District 2, we have recut a ribbon for a rehab center. If you ever need it, Stuart, you can come for rehab in District 2. I hope you never need it. But a beautiful facility. It looked like it was a 5-star resort-style hotel. Mayor Pro Tem and I went there to cut the ribbon last week, and they've got a beautiful facility there. But those are a couple of the items that we've done, and I'm sure, Suzanne, you've got more.
Suzanne?
Thank you. So I'm going to highlight District 1. I don't have a catchy phrase, Stuart. You win. So on the 23rd, Lakeview Elementary Homecoming Celebration, we had that, and it was fantastic. The school is just great. If you get a chance, go over there and check it out. Jennifer was there, the mayor was there, Carol was there, and we all got to see how they took something old and refreshed it and made it new again, and it's absolutely wonderful. That was a great time. Also in District 1, on the 28th, we had the 24th annual Youth and Philanthropy Celebration at Constellation. Students that got 67 scholarships, and that was fantastic. But the best thing about this, I don't know if you've ever seen a teenage kid happy to give money back, but those kids gave money back to the nonprofits they volunteered for, and they were elated about it. It was fantastic. And the last thing is something that I don't think any of you will ever do. I got to unveil an orange alligator crush at Lolly Green Park on the 25th. Our 4B project is promoting art and whimsical things in neighborhoods, and it was fantastic. Lots of kids. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Suzanne. I'm going to highlight 3 things tonight. The Lakeview Elementary School. I think that was an extraordinarily well done job. Kudos to Fort Bend ISD and to their principal. Also, the Sugarland Arts Fest. The Cultural Arts Group, Jim Stubenratch, our former council member Bridget Young, they did an extraordinary job of putting that together. They had about 3,000 people. I went around and visited with most of the artists that were there, and they were thrilled to death to participate. And we look forward to an even bigger and better event next year. And finally, the Space Cowboys. Space Cowboys are back in town. Their record's a little bit less than 500 ball, but that's because none of us are out there supporting them. So I would encourage people from Sugarland, if you haven't been to AAA baseball, you're in for a real treat. They've got great food. It's great entertainment for the kids. Get out and support our team. And finally, vote. We just passed early voting. Today was the last day. The next day to vote is this Saturday, May the 7th. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Make sure you get out and vote.
27 minutes left to vote today.
You're right, man. Polls haven't closed. You've still got time to get here. Go ahead, Mike. City manager report.
No report, Mayor.
How about a motion to adjourn at 6:34? Thank you, Carol. Pretty efficient. Pretty efficient.